Dave Elliott, thanks so much for being with me this morning. We're going to start with the very latest from the nation's capital, and we're always happy to have 4th District Congressman Mike Ezell on board with us. Congressman, good to see you, and thanks for being with us on the Mississippi coast.
Hey, thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. And how's the weather down there? It was
It's
pretty
perfect.
for a day or two, wasn't it?
Picture perfect. Let's talk about, first of all, we're seeing some possible escalation in a regional conflict in the Middle East with Israel, Hamas, and now Iran making some unbelievable threats. What are your greatest concerns about that?
Well, as always, my greatest concerns is the Americans getting drawn into something that we don't want to be involved in. We've got to continue to support our greatest ally over there, Israel. But we've got to keep an eye on these Iranians and these various other bad actors over there to do everything we can to keep Americans out of that fight. So we're watching it very closely. I mean, we have to take these threats very seriously. We're dealing with some very bad actors, and we've got to be prepared to support our ally Israel over there. And that's what we're keeping a close eye on here in Washington.
Now, there are so many, well, obviously all around the world, because basically the UN and the world is anti-Israel. But even in America, we're hearing all of these calls for a ceasefire. And the media always leaves out the fact that there have already been about 3 ceasefires put forward, and Hamas has disagreed to every one.
Exactly. And if they started this fight, and now that things are going so bad for them right now they want it to stop. If this would have happened to America, we wouldn't have stopped till we got everybody back. And you cannot blame the Israelis for going after these folks. These people are going to be bad actors from now on. They've shown that by, their initial attack back in October, killing 1,200 people. Brutalizing so many, burning people alive, putting children in ovens. These people are brutally evil, and we've got to back Israel all that we can. Release all those hostages, and then we'll talk to you. But they're not doing that. And by the way, we really don't know how many of these people they've killed, how many of them are still alive, and exactly what's going on over there. So we have got to stay on top of this and find out as much as we can to combat this, because at some point we're going to have to deal with it. We'd rather deal with it over there with the Israelis fighting them than Americans.
So there's a lot of debate. There's another $60 billion or so in aid on the table. There are a lot of members of Congress that do not want the Biden administration to release this. But in my opinion, I think what Israel needs more than anything else are words of support from this administration and from a lot of people in our country, and also unequivocal condemnation of Hamas.
Absolutely, 100%. Again, I take it back. If this would have happened to us like it happened to us on 9/11, we would not have stopped. And the president, his administration, they need to stand up for Israel, because that's our biggest ally over there. And we all know that. These people, again, that we're dealing with are very bad actors. They intend to do harm to free people, especially the Israelis. Everybody around them hates them, and they hate us just as bad. They call, us the great Satan, and then Israel the little Satan. And they are bad actors. They mean to do harm to us, and we've got to stand behind them. And as many members of Congress have stated publicly that we stand behind Israel, it shocks me to see some of the protests that has gone on right here in America. In Dearborn, Michigan, I saw some things the other day on the news that just shocked me, the way that these people are acting. This is America. This is not the Middle East. This is America.
Well, not only Dearborn, Michigan, there were more than 100 protesters with the Palestinian flag inside the Capitol harassing members of Congress and their staff. But let's move on a little bit. Okay. Ukraine, there's another, I think, package for about $113 billion out there. Cash, military supplies, or that's how much we've given them so far. There's another request for about $60 billion or so there. How do you think America should handle this? How do you think the administration should handle this one in Ukraine?
Well, one of the things that we have said all along is that we want to secure our own border. I am all for helping the Ukrainians as much as I can, fighting the Russians. Most of us have lived through the Cold War back in the day when, it was always us against the Russians. It looks like it's coming to that again. We've got to be prepared to support these folks, but we have got to secure our own southern border. I mean, that's where we're having such a big problem. And there are known terrorists that have gotten into our country. I believe that we need to support Ukraine, but we've got to support and protect our own southern border first. This Mayorkas situation with him and not securing the border. The president, with a stroke of a pen, could shut that border down today, and we would have a secure border. But he chooses not to, and dragging this thing along like he's doing that, I think, is by design.
Okay, so we have a national security risk at the border. We have, and this is the part I don't understand with a lot of people who want to show compassion, what we actually have down at the border is a humanitarian crisis as well. I mean, do you like what Texas is doing? Do you like where they're kind of saying we're going to defend our own border? Other states are sending National Guardsmen down there as well. How do you think all this is going to kind of settle down in the next couple of months leading up to the presidential election?
I don't think President Biden's going to do anything to secure this border until he's forced to after he loses this election in the fall. I'll tell you this, I believe in states' rights. I believe those Texan guys are doing the right thing. If I was a sheriff down there, as I was in Jackson County, I would be doing the exact same thing. I would be locking those people up at every opportunity I had to protect my own citizens. I mean, we are Americans here, and the Constitution, allows for us to protect our own country, to protect our citizens. As a sheriff, I did that. I know how to do it, and this president is not doing it. This administration is not doing that. And it's a crying shame this is allowed to go on. And that's the reason why we had to take some of the actions that we did against Mayorkas to try to show them that this is just what they're doing is a failure. These people are coming in the country every day. And yes, there's a humanitarian crisis created by this administration.
Let's go to this continuing resolution. You voted against it, 1,200 plus pages. It was released in the dead of night, $1.2 trillion. No members of Congress had a chance to read it, so it was all put together by the leadership. And you voted against it because they just keep running what they call budgets in this manner.
Yeah, we can't keep doing this. And, I really think that, Mike Johnson is doing the best that he can. I think he's a good leader. But sometimes things are just forced down I guess his throat, that he thought that this was the best option for him to take. I didn't agree with it. I think that we can do better. I feel like coming up next year that we will start to get things coming along in line a little better. I really hope so. I'm hoping we can pick up some more seats in the House and take the Senate back in the White House so that we can actually get some things done. But we can't keep kicking this can down the road like we've done for too many years. I'm not for that. I'm for, fiscal responsibility, being a good conservative. And, I'm going to continue to vote like I should and as hard as I can for the people in South Mississippi.
Congressman, I have 1 minute left, and I want give me 30 seconds on two local issues. The first one that's big is you've led a delegation to FEMA. They've been talking about changing these unfair flood maps down here in Mississippi for a long time, and nothing has happened. People can't even afford their insurance. People can't even afford to build. Is this going anywhere?
Yes, it is going somewhere. I'll tell you what, we have just had conversations with FEMA. We are holding their feet to the fire. I've been fighting with them every day. We've got some help from the Army Corps of Engineers, and yes, we are making progress, and I am forcing them. I've had them on the witness stand on several occasions and brought to their attention, and I'm making them go by their own rules. They make rules, and then they don't go by them, so I'm holding their feet to the fire. We are making progress with that. Just hang on. As the old saying goes, help is on the way.
And one last one, I need a very quick answer. Protecting shrimp in our part of the world against imports.
I just introduced a bill with Troy Nels out of Texas to protect our own shrimpers and to quit subsidizing money for these countries like Vietnam, India, and China. and we need to buy local. Make sure you're buying from your local shrimper so that you can put these people, stop them from coming in here taking over our shrimping business.
All righty, Congressman Mike Ezell, always a pleasure. Thank you, Congressman.